Welcome to Diamonds in the Rough. I'm your host, Siddharth Mane. It's a new day, new episode. And for today's episode, we have Meera Puranik. She's in drama, she's an aspiring actor, and she goes to UCLA right now for drama. So, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for asking. I asked this question to a lot of people, but I think it's the most important. How did you get into drama? Like, what was your motivation?
Yeah, um, I've been doing drama my whole life. When I was little, it was really a way for me to like come out of my shell and meet new people and kind of be myself. I was definitely shy as a kid. And it's just always been a passion of mine. It's always something I've wanted to do. Growing up, I did like plays in elementary school and auditions growing up. But then once I hit high school, I kind of slowed down. I never thought it was something I would be able to pursue like career wise in college, especially because my whole family is in STEM, and a lot of people often like go in more predictable career paths. But when it was time to really apply to college, I was just I didn't know what I wanted to do. My original plan was to become an orthodontist, and it wasn't really something that I was interested in anymore. And my dad was like, "Well, you really like acting. You've always liked acting when you were little. You've gone to auditions and you've trained. So why don't you try doing that?" And it just kind of made sense. So we went for it and took a risk, and here I am.
I think, and honestly, I think that's great, especially in the Asian community. A lot of people are, yeah, like you said, people are going into more predictable paths. People are going into more like, like STEM, like there's engineering, math, sciences. So I think it's really cool and really unique. And everyone that's listening can use that you should do what you love, right? Because if like you said, if you went into orthodontics, I doubt you would be as happy as you are doing drama right now, right? Would you say that?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And like it was something that it boils down to when I looked into my future, when I was younger, I wanted the predictable future. When I was younger, I wanted to work a 9 to 5 job, come home to my kids, be married, whatever. But as I grew up, it changed, and it will probably still continue to change. But at this point in my life, when I look forward, it's what I want to do is I want my job to be something that I'm excited to do, because especially in our culture today, everything is so centered around what you do. That's how you make a living, that's what you spend your days doing. And I wanted it to be something that I was genuinely excited to wake up and go to and do every day.
Yeah, I think that's a great point you just made there that right now in our culture, it's based off what you do. So yeah, if you do what you love, you're going to enjoy your life more, for sure. And so you got in that's how you got into drama because as a child you were into it. Were you scared when you started? Like when you started not as a child but like now, like since you got into UCLA for drama, and that's incredible. UCLA is a great school. It is a really great school. So were you scared when you got in or when you started actually thinking about pursuing it as a career, like from your parents, or did you have like stage fright, or were you just like was there any anxiety at all?
Oh, 100%. Growing up, like I've always been very anxious about like what people think of me and making sure that I'm doing everything correctly and by the book. And especially getting into UCLA, there's so many avenues people take to get into college for theater. In particular, some people train their whole life. I have a friend that's also gone into theater for college, and she's been doing it since she was little. And then there's people who like do it outside of school, in school, go to special theater high schools. So once it came time to like actually apply, I was really nervous about getting in because it was kind of a toss up. It's been something I've done my whole life, but I wasn't training to go to theater school. So it was definitely nerve wracking. And then once I got in, I almost experienced a kind of like imposter syndrome. Like it felt like, why am I here? Like,
Yeah.
why am I doing this? Like, all these people are so amazing. Like, how did I get here? And will I be able to live up to those expectations? And I mean, that's something that I continue to struggle with. And I think most people struggle with, like, no matter what career path you're in, like, am I good enough? But one thing that really got me through it is like My family's super supportive. And the people that I go to school with are genuinely just like such nice people. It feels like a community and a family. And I think that like no matter what career you're going into, you find people that share the same interests and just like enjoy what you're doing. Don't think about it too much. As long as you try your hardest and you genuinely love what you're doing, you're going to be learning so much more than pushing yourself to do something you don't want to.
Exactly. And I 100% agree with you. That's like everyone's going to face that. You're always going to face, anxiety wherever, like whatever, like there's always going to be hard work required, whichever field you go to. I've heard this a lot. Like when my friends are talking with me, they're like, oh, like going into acting, going into like, I don't know, singing, it's not work, because those are not like non traditional jobs. People think those are just easy jobs. And I think that, that's not true. I think whatever field you go into, there's work that you have to do. So yeah, I think that, for sharing that, I think thank you for that. That's good information for anyone, and that's great advice. Um, like, and then speaking of like, your anxiety, going in, did you have any doubtful moments? I know for me, when I started, like when I do martial arts, so I had doubtful moments sometimes, like I just want to quit because, I'm not good enough or I'm never going to get there. Obviously, people might have that. Did you have any doubtful moments that you might want to quit or just go into something like like a path that your parents took or whatever?
Yeah, definitely. In the past and like still very much so currently, it's we talked about how it's not a predictable path. And because of that, it's scary. There's not you do this and you go to this school, you're guaranteed to come here if you get good grades. Like you don't know where you're going to end up. And that's terrifying, especially to someone like me, who I like to have everything planned out and I like to know where things are going to go. And unfortunately, that's not where it is. So sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm not getting any jobs, or oh, I'm not getting any opportunities, or you see somebody in like social media or somebody like on a television show who's, not that much older than you and way different place in life than you. And you're like, oh, I'm so behind. Like this 20-year-old is already on this hit show and doing this thing. And I'm still in school, or like, and I'm still not getting auditions. I don't have an agent. It feels very like, are you behind? And I think the biggest thing to like recognize is that yes, like other people are at different stages in their life, but another thing is there's no formula. So that means that, yeah, you might not be there right now, but maybe it's just not your time, and you're not at a standstill. Like it almost sometimes feels like you're at a standstill because you're not getting like these opportunities and you're not on a show. But then I have to remember I'm also learning and I'm training and I'm meeting new people. So I'm not really at a standstill. I'm just at a different place in my life and I'm just doing different things. It's not necessarily bad, you know?
Yeah, I agree, because like especially for me with kung fu, or I do kung fu, like there's people like younger than me that are like 10 times better than me. So I think it's hard. I think you kind of just have to take a breather and take a step back and say that I'm still learning. There's always like there's people that are going to be better than you at whatever you do. So I think that you kind of just have to, focus on yourself, and yeah, like you said, you're always learning and you're not at a standstill. So thank you for that. Also, that's great advice for anyone listening. And this is like, this doesn't just apply to drama. This kind of applies to everything that, whatever you're doing. So that's great advice. And just another question: how has drama helped you in just anything, like your social life or just your self growth? How has that helped you?
Um, that's a really good question. I would say, I mean, in so many different parts of life, it's definitely had an impact on me. So, like in high school, I wasn't a theater kid. And I don't think many people at my school even knew I did theater. And it's a funny story. I was going to an audition for USC at the time when it was time to do college auditions. And I was super like out there. I was talking to everybody, making conversation, and I was very shy in my hometown at that point in my life. And two boys walked in who go to my high school and they were known to do theater. And I just like shut down. I was like, oh my God, like what are they doing here? What are the chances of them being in LA the same exact day as me in the same exact audition room? And I mean, they were like Meera, what are you doing here? And it was like a very odd thing. And I remember going back to high school and people were like, so I heard you do theater. So, I mean, when I didn't do theater, I was definitely a lot more shy. But now in college, I feel like now that I've found my people, I've found these people that, I share this common interest with, and they really are like a family there. So I feel much more like confident to be who I am. And you still get those nerves and those butterflies before you perform. But I do feel like more confident. So I think theater has helped me with that. I think also it's just made me so much like happier. In high school, I was really focused on like getting the good grades to go to college to do something in the future. And it was very much like I put a lot of stress on myself. But again, like how we talked about, when you genuinely like what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. Like it feels like work, but it's work you like. So I think theater has also allowed me to like be more creative and imaginative and kind of embrace that side of me that otherwise was kind of suppressed by all the other things going on in my life.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's great. And like you're talking about finding a group of people with the common interest, I think that's another great point that I think the people you surround yourself with are going to help you the most whether it's directly or indirectly. If you surround yourself with a bunch of people that are like okay, if you don't like academics and you surround yourself with a bunch of people that are just like I don't want to like this term is kind of like I don't know. I don't use it too much like nerds, I guess, or people that are just like academic strong. Like I'm taking every single AP the school has to offer. I have a 4.0 GP. Like, those kids that maybe you may not enjoy school as much. So I think that if you surround yourself with the people you truly enjoy being around, and that'll help you grow so much more and it'll help you reach the next level because you're not worried about your social. And like you said, drama helped you with that. I think that's great. And just for anyone wanting to start drama or anyone that is going into drama, do you have any advice for them, whether it's like advice about acting or whether just it's just about choosing the right path or what to expect? Do you have any advice for anyone?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first, if you're wanting to get into acting or drama and you don't really have any experience, I definitely recommend, checking out what classes you have at your community. Sometimes they have theater going on, improv groups are really fun. And if there's not any, you can also just get together with some friends and try to hash it out. And that's great. Also, with the internet and especially being in quarantine, there's so many resources that you can find online as well for free if you go to YouTube and like different programs. So I think that's a great way to get started and interested. And I think that if you are you're thinking about pursuing it in college, it's important to know the different types of education you can get. So, the three main types that I know of are conservatory, BFA, and BA. And conservatory is probably the most strict. You're going to get the most intensive training for whatever your track is. Um, and then BFA is like in the middle ground. Let's say you have like 100 credits you need to take. A BFA would mean that like 70% of those credits are going to be on theater, and that's going to be your focus. And then a BA is more of like a liberal arts education. So it's going to be more around like 50% of the classes you take are going to be theater, and then 50% are going to be like general education. For example, that's what I do. I'm in a liberal arts education. So 50% of my classes are theater classes, and the others are stuff like science and language and humanities and stuff like that. So you want to do research and figure out what is the right thing for you and what you're looking for. And then I'd say with the resources and with the like what you're looking for, there's so many things to find. If you're wanting to do it as a hobby, you're probably gonna not need as much. Like, for example, if you're going into like a more competitive career oriented field where you want to enter the industry, you're probably going to need like a headshot and a resume. Those things you can do at home really easily. You can definitely Google it. But I think the most important thing is that if you are going in for drama, to really love what you're doing and to do it because you're interested and not because you're trying to get rich or you're trying to get famous, and to figure it out just jump in. There's so many things that you can. I know I'm reiterating
No,
myself,
no,
but
no. I think it's great advice. Keep going. Keep going.
there's so many resources you can do, and to stop putting it off, because so often I was like, oh, it's not my time, like I can't do this, but I can, because I can't. Being at home, it almost feels like in quarantine, like how I was saying that you're at a standstill, but you're not. So if you want to do drama, go for it. I mean, just do whatever you want to do, and if you love it, it'll fall into place.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And I know I've said this before in some previous episodes. Like a lot of people I've interviewed have also said this, like the internet, you can find anything on there. So the moment that you decide or you tell yourself that I'm going to do this, you can do it. I think that if you keep giving yourself excuses, oh no, it's COVID, I can't do it. I'd love drama, but I can't. I think those are just excuses. I think that, you go for it. If you truly love doing it, then go for it. And I think that also, like I said, applies to everything. And Meera just gave amazing advice for drama. So please, like, listen to that and, apply it. And this is just a last question for fun. Who's your favorite actor? And it can be more than one.
Oh my gosh, this is such a hard question because I love so many actors. Um,
Or just give
you
me your
know,
top five. Top five if you have.
mm, well, first I'm gonna go Jennifer Lawrence because I think she's hilarious, and she's just like so authentically herself.
Yeah,
So I love watching her.
I've never seen any drama around her. There's always something going on with one actor or the next. But yeah, J Lo, she's authentic. She's a great actor also.
Yeah. So anytime I watch a Jennifer Lawrence interview, I can just like I laugh so hard. I love her. Um, another actress or an actor. Oh gosh. Hmm. Well, okay. Well, my favorite show in the world is Psych. I definitely recommend it if you like comedy. It's like about a dude who pretends to be psychic, but he really just like has a photographic memory. He pretends to be psychic in order to solve crimes. And James Roday plays the lead, and I love him. As I watched that show 9 times, I kid you not. And he's just brilliant. His comedic timing is awesome. So I've got to go with him.
I think I haven't seen too much of that show, but it's a pretty Sean and Gus. Yeah, I think
Yes,
that's a
love it.
it's a funny show. It's a really funny show.
Yes, definitely.
So is that it?
Yeah, I mean, if we go through 5, it's gonna take me so long to narrow it down. So
Yeah.
I'll just leave it.
I think
Leave
those are
it at
hard
that.
I think those are hard questions to ask. What's your favorite this? Yeah, but I mean, thank you. Thank you for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it. And thank you for giving such great advice to anyone listening. Follow Mira's Instagram. Links will be in the description. Check out my Instagram. And if you're listening to this on Anchor, you can watch it on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, you can listen to it on Anchor. All links will be in description. And yeah, thanks again, Mira, for joining me here.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. All right. Stay tuned. Hopefully, I'll be posting next week. And yeah, stay tuned.